Let's talk some Big Ten basketball recruiting with Brian Snow, national recruiting analyst for 24/7 Sports. Brian, obviously the biggest news over the past couple of weeks. Shoot, you could argue the biggest news in a decade plus inside the Big Ten is the verbal commitment of Emoni Bates to play for Michigan State, whether it's next season or 2 seasons. He's actually the class of 2022. Let's start with just how big a get this is for Tom Izzo and the Spartans.
You know, it's absolutely huge. Emoni Bates is as good a prospect as we've seen in numerous years. I mean, you'll hear the best since LeBron type of stuff. Let's be honest, it's pretty hard to be better than Anthony Davis. But Emoni Bates has that ability. He's about 6'8". He's a true wing. He plays with the ball in his hands. He can score from all three levels on the court. He's a really smart player. But the thing that separates Emoni Bates is he has an incredible work ethic. It's like legendary already. His dad has to dial him down in workouts to get him to like come back to earth. Like, Emoni, we need you to be a kid. We need you to calm down. He works that hard. And when you have that skill set with that drive and that desire to be the best, it really shines. And it's why Emoni's gotten so far, even at this young age.
Now, while Bates to Michigan State is the biggest story, it's not a massive surprise as far as Tom Izzo's recruiting acumen is concerned. Let's switch to a school now, Brian, that I think is doing surprisingly well, and that's Northwestern. After the historic run to the NCAA tournament a few years back, the last couple of seasons have not been what Chris Collins and staff imagined, yet they're still doing really well on the recruiting trail. How?
You know, he's got a staff that's really working hard. You got assistant coaches John Borovich, who's a native of Michigan, that they were able to pull in a kid from Michigan, Julian Roper, who's a very good wing. And then, you know, Emmanuel Dildy's another very talented recruiter with some East Coast ties. And he got a kid, Casey Simmons, who's a top 100 player who I like a lot. Then I'm from Indianapolis. They have a kid from Lafayette, Brooks Barnheiser, who just recently committed. He had a great junior season, was one of my fastest risers in the Midwest. They are doing a fantastic job. They're selling academics. They're selling the total package of Northwestern and development. And for them to get these three wings committed early really says a lot about the direction that program can be going.
Northwestern, one of several schools, Brian, that litter the top 10, 15 of the national rankings right now. What other schools inside the Big Ten have your interest and why?
You know, a school that's really picking up momentum right now is Michigan with Juwan Howard. Juwan, he's got Will Cheddar, a skilled power forward from the state of Minnesota, committed. And then he's got Isaiah Barnes from the state of Illinois, who's another one of those fast risers out of the Midwest, a very athletic wing who can do a little bit of everything. Then, you know, you go down the road a little bit to Ohio State. They got a pair of early in-state commitments. One, Michi Johnson. He's a kind of a combo guard with athleticism. So he's someone, he's got that personality, that leadership, that natural, like what you want in a leader at the point guard position, the extension of a coach. But with Ohio State right now, it's coming down to, you look at, there's a kid, Malachi Branham, out of Akron St. Vincent St. Mary High School. He's a top 25 player in the country. Ohio State, Louisville, Xavier are kind of his top three right now. He's a native of Columbus. The Buckeyes have put in a lot of work. Most think they're the leader, including myself. If they get him, that really takes that class to another level. And then you can even go to the state of Indiana, where I currently reside. Indiana and Purdue have gotten off to a great start. Indiana dipped into the city of Cincinnati, got a big man who is one of the best players in the Midwest. So he's that center that Indiana's likely going to need to replace Trace Jackson Davis. Logan Dunkam's his name. And then up the road at Purdue, they got Caleb First, who's my top-rated player in the state of Indiana. He's kind of a power forward center, really productive interior, and is getting outside to shoot the three a little bit more. So those are some schools in the Big Ten that are off to a great start. Purdue's really locked in on a few other players, Indiana as well. I think it's going to be a really good recruiting year in the Big Ten.
Wow, terrific stuff from national recruiting analyst Brian Snow of 24/7, giving you all the info that you could ever possibly digest about the current state of Big Ten basketball recruiting. Brian, great to catch up. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Anytime, Rick.